It's May 2018. BFGoodrich has just released its new mud tire, the KM3. So it's time to see if it's up to the task of the Overland Explorer. I'm going to do that by taking it across Australia. A total of 8,000 miles included all kinds of terrain over a 5-week period. I set off in early May 2018.
Those of you watching this review may regard it with some skepticism, and you have every right to do so because I am BFGoodrich's global ambassador. Let me tell you a little bit about how that came about. I had been using BFGoodrich tires on my overland, many of them expeditions, since 2009. In 2015 we started talking and I became their global ambassador.
The vehicle I'm driving is a Toyota Land Cruiser 79 pickup with a 6x6 conversion designed by Multidrive Australia.
I'm still using their tires, exactly the same as I did before. But now, as a viewer, you may know that and may regard whatever I say about the tire with skepticism, and you have every right to do so. At the time that I was made global ambassador, I announced on my channel, no more tire reviews, particularly in terms of comparing them with other brands, because how could you trust me? I understand and completely this drive across Australia. At the end of the crossing, you will see how well they did. I will speak about how they perform as much as I can. I will also be able to explain my views in terms of what would be a better fit for your vehicle build, a KM3 or a KO2. That's my job now, is to make a comparison between those tires, and at the end of it I will then decide for my own use what would be, of the two, the better fit.
Approximately 4,700 kilometers of black top tar, approximately 1,300 kilometers of gravel. Some of the gravel has been really bad, really tough, very, very hard on tires, that kind of stuff that just makes such a noise under the vehicle, and you just know that tires are taking a beating. And lowered my pressures to the correct pressures for comfortable gravel road traveling. Approximately 500 kilometers crossing the Simpson Desert, that's very low pressures through the desert. And another, also about 500 kilometers of very steep climbs, off-road in the Victoria Highlands.
Keep going, put the power in now, put the power in, come on, keep coming at me.
So now, how well have the tyres done? One of the indications on how well a tyre can flex at low pressures is the temperature build-up of the tyre. I have been driving now for a little over 120 kilometers on gravel at 60 kilometers an hour with pressures at the back of 22 psi and 18 psi at the front. Let's see how hot the tires are. Cool. Remarkably cool. Which is a very, very good sign. And it was one of the reasons why I love the KO2 tire, still do, is that you can drive it like this at low pressures. And I'm not advocating the fact that you drive it at low pressures. It's not a good idea. You can easily damage the tire. But a sign of damage is when that gets very, very hot, it's flexing too much and you need to stop. That's not even, that's vaguely warm. Really very impressed. What I don't think is discussed nearly enough when it comes to tire pressures is how they look. I mean, a nice bulge, a nice long footprint, just the look of the tire, that's going to be great for dune driving, but definitely too soft for road and even gravel road driving. So these being unfamiliar tires to me, I've got to see how they look.
That's the only way I'll know, because it being a KM3, brand new, no trials, no test. I mean, apart from the trials and tests are done by the manufacturers, no road info flowing through from the forums or whatever about what pressure seems to work well. So I've got to guess. So, how do they look? Now, gravel road, I want it to be able to cushion the blow of the stones and the gravel and the corrugations and everything, to cushion the blow, but not have the tyres flex too much and get too hot. So, what am I going to do here? The back ones were at are now at 2.5 bar, and I think these front ones should probably be at 1.8 for gravel. Let's have a look, and I'm going to stop when they look right and then measure the pressure. I'm looking at the back. The back are at 2.5 bar, carrying more load. That's about right now. Let's see what pressure they're at. 2 bar. So that was guessing by the shape, and it just looks right. The next test, of course, is to how it feels on the gravel. If it's very, very brittle, very, very hard, then I might let them down a bit. But also at this pressure is that they're not deflated so much that I wouldn't actually travel at normal speed at highway speeds. I would for short distances. So somewhere in between is going to be good for gravel. As far as pure handling on gravel, the KM3 is, dare I say it, better than the KO2. Yes, better. I think it is. And that means it's a very, very good. My test of the KM3 has included a drive from the Victorian High Country into the northern part of New South Wales, which has included the crossing of the Great Dividing Range, twisty, turny roads. And again, I have to think, what would this vehicle feel like with the KO2s on them? Without being able to actually just swap them immediately and do a direct swap, my impressions are that on a road like this, the KO2s grip better. Not that the KM3s grip badly, they're not giving me that sure-footed grip on tar, dry tar, at high speeds that the KO2s deliver. And so I have to decide, well, do I do a lot of this kind of driving? I do far more desert crossings and not actually very many mountain crossings. So again, that's for you to decide, but for me, in an environment like this, the KO2s are better, and they should be too. Pressures are 18 psi, 22 psi. In sand, walking it. No issues at all in sand. The first test for me was Big Red, Australia's tallest sand dune. And my climbing gear is low third, which is always a very, very good climbing gear, I find. Tallest? Really? Okay, we're getting a little bit more difficult because this turning is the problem. The vehicle has been performing very, very, very well in thick, technical, sandy conditions this morning. It's been really quite difficult, quite technical earlier on today. Really, I give it a full thumbs up in sand. As good as the KO2 in sand, definitely as good as the KO2 in sand. I have no doubt about that at all. Which is pretty pleasing, considering it's an aggressive mud tire.
Well, there's the desert in front of us. Pretty amazing. We've got 1,200 plus minus dunes to cross. I did not encounter any meaningful mud conditions on my crossing. Suffice to say, the KM3 is going to be significantly better in mud than the KO2. As part of the test of the KM3, it's fair enough to say that we've had no tyre problems, no punctures and everything like that, but how well have the tyres fared? I'm just about to finish the last section of gravels. I thought it would be appropriate now to actually have a look to see how the tyres have fared. Front tyre. The front tyres never take as much of a beating as the back tyres. They're carrying less of a load. And I'm looking at this now for chips. Chips in the sidewall and chips in the tread. And I actually can't see any. I can't see there's a tiny one there. Okay, this is a little bit too good to be true. I'm going to have to look closer because we should have suffered some, even a little bit of tyre damage on this trip. I've done a lot of trips like this, and I know what a tyre looks like after a trip like this. And generally, the tyres are in good condition after a trip like this. But you can see that they have worked hard. I can't see it on this at all. Let's have a look at the pack. Okay, this is a little bit more. There's a telltale sign there. Okay, there's a tiny little chip there. Can you see that there? Okay, that's the worst chip I can find. There's another one there. There's another little one there. The blocks are all hard and firm. Tiny chip there. On the outward edge, there's a tiny chip there. Okay, and now I'm starting to believe things are real because, you know, okay, there's a tiny chip there. Okay, all right. Let's have a look at the other back wheel. Now, the inside back is always the wheel that takes the most punishment. Okay, I can't see a single chip on this tyre at all. Not one. Let's have a look at the front over here. Okay, well, all I can say is that is impressive. So just to point it out, in case any of you doubters are concerned, this is what a new one looks like. All right, that's what a brand new tyre looks like. Never been run, and you can see that because it's still got these little rubber nodules on it from the casting. And you can see there, that's what a new one is supposed to look like. And again, let's go to my other spare tyre. And again, that's a new tyre. So I have not replaced the tyre at any stage during the trip. These are actually, because these were sent to Australia as the very, very first batch of KM3s in Australia. These are the only 16-inch KM3s in this country. What can I say? You need to come to your own conclusions about the strength of these tyres. I have made my conclusion. I'm now driving KM3s on my Land Cruiser. Done. But I say that though, but I still prefer a narrower tyre. And as part of this big trip, I've done an extensive comparison. Performance of this vehicle, wide versus narrow. That's a separate video that I shall put on YouTube and link below when it is up and ready. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the KM3. I, generally speaking, don't do reviews on tyres because I am an ambassador of BFGoodrich, so this is really for the purposes of helping you decide whether to run KM3s or KO2s on your four-wheel drive, particularly if you're using it for similar purposes as myself. overland expeditions in remote parts of the world. I thank you for watching.